Going on, everyone? I don't know if you all heard the technical difficulties in the music there, but just kind of did a remix on us. But hi, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Talking in Ovals podcast. Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. You're in the right place if you made it here. How's it going, everybody? Monday, September 26th of 2022 is when we are recording this. Before I say hello to everyone with me, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes. Spread this word of mouth. And as always, find us on Twitter at Talking in Ovals. So, Hyatt, you're here. You're always with me, my faithful companion. What's going on, my man?
Not much, man. Just pumped after the Berlin Marathon the other day. That was quite a race.
It was absolutely incredible, and we're certainly going to touch on that. But I want to introduce our guest today. It is somebody that both Hyatt and I know well. We both coached her, and she happens to be one of our biggest fans on this show, and we absolutely appreciate her support. And in appreciating that, we want to bring on one of, I think both we will agree, one of our favorite people, but also at the same time, one of the most frustrating people to coach. The ever so talented Zhane Valmon. What's going on, Zhane?
Hi.
How's it going with you?
How are you guys doing? It's good.
Yeah. So, like I said, Zhane, you're an extremely talented sprinter. You carry the Valmon name well, but man, oh man, when you did not want to practice, it was pulling teeth. Hyatt, you had her probably in middle school first, didn't you?
We did.
Middle school, and then I had the personal satisfaction of following her to high school. I'm not sure if I was there her freshman year. I might have came to high school.
It was my freshman year.
Was it? I wasn't sure, but obviously from the moment that I first saw her run in middle school, I'm like, this girl is ridiculously talented, and she's going to go really, really far. And I know, and there definitely were times where I felt that if she just pushed herself a little harder, she probably could have been, winning the states. But I mean, she still won counties as a freshman, short conference as a freshman, state sectionals as a freshman. Got all the school records, which I think weren't broken until last year with Ellis. But
Jada. I've seen that.
But it was an absolute pleasure to coach her, and I think what really impressed me was her junior and senior. I didn't coach her senior year. I left at the point was that she really bought in, and I think she actually enjoyed being on the relay more than she actually did running her own races, because she got to run with 3 other talented girls, and I think that she really embraced that role as the anchor leg and kind of helped bring that whole team all the way to the MOC.
Yeah, I remember.
I had so much fun.
I was with young Zhane, and I remember just pulling her to the side at times and being like, so Zhane, if you didn't jog through that sprint, she's like, but I'm tired, coach, and I'm done. And I just remember, so take us through this, because I feel like there are a lot of young, talented sprinters that kind of start with your mentality, like, coach, I'm fast. I know I'm fast. I don't know how, but I'm going to do me because this is natural talent. Talk to me a little bit about the mindset and when it clicked for you that, what, if I buy in and I work hard, I can shatter every record. I can go to school. I can be, an incredible runner instead of just a good runner. Talk me through kind of a little maturity process there from high school.
Honestly, it was Ocean County Champs my freshman year, where I was in lane 2 and I thought I was losing the entire race. I crossed the line and I was like, okay, I didn't win. And I see Hyatt basically high jump over the fence and run over to me. And I'm like, I lost. Why are you so excited? And he was like, you won. And I was like, no, I didn't. Why are you lying to me?
I think I pulled the hamstring.
Holy cow. I really thought I was losing this entire time. I was like, wow, maybe if I move a little bit faster. And I was like, you know what? I'm losing at this point. I'll just take my, L in peace. And then I won. And I was like, all right, maybe I should put a little more pep in my step.
What I found fascinating too was as fast as you were, I felt that you were better in the 200 than you were in the 100. I felt
honestly,
it took you a little harder to get out of the actual blocks. Maybe your start wasn't great, but once you got going, you just were able to keep it up and just maintain it through the whole race.
And then, honestly, the 200, we had a love-hate relationship, because there'd be sometimes I'd be running it and I'm like, I feel like I've been running forever. And then other times, it's the best thing in the world. But it definitely was my favorite event. Yeah, no, me in the 100, it was like, I'll run it if I have to, but I probably would have definitely always chosen the 200. I mean, 4x1 is different. I really liked that because I didn't start in blocks. It was just like,
running start,
but I definitely loved the 200. And then like continuously going through each meet and like getting better, I was like, all right, maybe I should try a little bit harder.
I think my favorite part was at the end of every meet, trying to get 4 girls to run the 4x4. And I was like,
yeah, no.
The one person that I could never find was you. You would somehow vanish when you
into thin air. Somewhere eating food, probably.
You saw Coach looking for people to run the 4x4 and like, nope, she's gone.
and and the worst part is, and you probably heard this, high school, even in college when you ran a little bit, is just the really good 200 runners usually translate up to being really good 400 runners. Have we ever gotten you to run a competitive 400? Have you avoided that the whole time?
She ran a few, and I think she ran like 61 indoors, and it was like,
yeah, going around. Like I'm pretty sure at like one point I like made it really far, and I'm just like, I don't understand how I made it this far. Like I was like, I'm confused as to why I'm here too. He's here with me and Venetia. I was like, I don't know how I got here. But I think it was maybe, it wasn't Meet of Champs. I think it was the one before that.
Yeah, it was
indoor.
At the indoor, yep. You guys both
like,
qualified.
Okay, how did I was like, I wasn't trying to make it this far in this event. Like, and then like, oh, congrats. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I don't want to be here. Oh my God. But, I ran my race, me and Venetia.
Yep.
We were just like, it's time to go home. Time to get some Pete and Elda's. And I'm like, you're right.
Pete and Elda's, man, I love that place. That place is amazing. Were you a part of the whole pie club?
I was.
Of course. I think everyone, you had to stack them. The goal was just to stack them and you go, right?
Slices, yeah.
If anybody doesn't know what Pete and Elda's is, go down by the Jersey Shore, go find it, go join the whole pie club, get yourself a shirt. Do they still do the shirts? Are they still doing that down there? I'm all the way up in Jersey now. Hi, you're the landmark there.
I have not been to Pete and Elda's in quite some time,
I
but
think they do.
I would think so.
They better. So talk a little more about your success in the big meets that you were able to go to in high school. So what was it like going back? Because obviously you had a lot of success as a freshman, and I had a lot of success as a freshman as well. And it I didn't go as far as you did. I didn't win counties and everything, but I was a pretty good freshman miler and 2-miler. Mm-hmm. And then what was it like going on after that sophomore year? Like now, freshman year, you're just coming in, you're brand new. Like, yeah, you have the last name Valmon, but we didn't know exactly what you were going to be. We knew you were good from middle school, but sometimes it doesn't always translate to high school greatness. Mm-hmm. Talk about stepping in as a freshman. You win counties. Hyatt celebrates like Hyatt does. And, we continue to coach you up and we know what you can be. What's it like the following years now coming into indoor and outdoor? Are you a little more focused on your training in the off season? Talk to me about kind of the pressure coming in the next following seasons.
I was definitely more willing to like go out and actually like do workouts on my off time. I'm like, all right, like, talent can only take you so far. Like you're going to have to put in, some effort. And even then I didn't want to wake up early. I still didn't want to wake up early, but I was like, you're going to have to get up, because I knew if I stayed in bed all day long, nothing was ever going to get done. But I did try a lot more. Like I would, do the workouts that we were given, and I would make a solid effort. I complained the whole time. It was cold. I was tired. I wanted to go inside, but it was, I tried.
Yeah, the weight room was not your best friend.
No, not until college.
But kind of like what Alex said, you come in as a freshman, you win counties, you win short conference, you win state sectionals, you make it all the way to the state champs, and like no one really knew who you were. Coming in the next year, like there's a defending champ there, so there's definitely way more pressure because you're not going to sneak up on anybody at that point. So,
exactly, like people, they're like, okay, I know who you are. We go to dual meets, and they're like, I'm not racing with you, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't pick this heat. Like,
so like, did you feel more pressure?
A lot more pressure. But I think my sophomore year was probably not my best year because I think like it was like some issues with like grade, like a particular class that like had given me a hard time. So like I couldn't start, like I think I missed out on most of the meets and I only got to get towards the end. Like I made it, decently far, but it probably would have been better if I was like consistently competing. So that kind of like made me upset because I'm like, I'm doing everything I can and like this teacher's not giving me any slack. But I was like, all right, I'll do what I have to do. I'll, sit out whatever time I need to. And hopefully junior year it's better. And I honestly don't remember my junior year either, but I know it was better than my sophomore year.
You know what? I think a lot of people don't realize that, that these kids are in high school and it's not just about their sport. There's social aspects, there's education, there's grades, there's homework, So I think a lot of people just look at these kids almost nowadays, like they look at them almost as if they're like pros and like all that they do is just train. But
yeah, like you just eat, sleep, and breathe and running. I'm like, no, I have geometry. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, so that was kind of like a setback. Junior year, I was like, all right, no more geometry. Hopefully all my grades are good, and they were, they were. So, but I think I had a good indoor season my junior year, and then like outdoor was not bad. I mean, I think I made it decently far, but I wasn't running the times that I wanted to run. Like I felt like my freshman year, it was the greatest year of my life. Like I felt like I couldn't get any faster, no matter how hard I tried. But like now, knowing what I know now, if I was in the weight room, at that time I was like, why would I go lift weights? Like I'm not trying to be, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like why am I lifting weights? But when I got to college, I was like, all right, this makes sense. This is why, like, I'm not just in here for no reason. But you live and you learn. And unfortunately, it didn't end the way that I wanted to. But I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I had fun, even when I didn't want to be there at 7 a.m.
So before we jump into some of the other stuff that we want to talk about, what would your advice be? Because, you're still Zhane Valmon. You're not too far removed from being a Manchester great. Like obviously Jada went through there, but you're a name there. People know who you are in the track and field program still. What would your advice be to the really talented young, sprinter, long distance runner, jumper, everything? Because Manchester has a proud track tradition, and we still have great coaches there, Coach Griffin, etc. All the people there that are still really doing well. What would your advice be to the young student athlete right now that finds himself having a lot of success young, but then, like you said, sophomore, junior, senior year comes on, the work gets a little harder in school, the pressure goes a little more for you to continue to improve. What would your advice be to that athlete right now? If you could sit there and you had someone sitting in front of you in your position that just came to win and was like, I'm really good, so I don't know what I'm going to do now. What would you say to that person?
I would say definitely listen to your coaches because they know best.
Thank you.
Like,
thank you.
You're definitely going to be like, oh my God, like I'm the greatest, but you probably are, but great things usually come to an end at some point. But like definitely listen to your coaches. You're going to have to put in the effort if you want to, make it places. If you want to make it to meet a champs, you can't, on the off season, you can't go and run like one day out of the week. And then the next 6 days, you're laying on the couch watching like, soap operas or something like that. Like you're definitely going to have to put in the effort, even when you don't want to. Maybe run a 400, even though you don't want to.
So,
but, listen to your coaches.
So they're thinking of taking away this. So they've been removing a lot of like tournament of champions, like things like that. And a lot of states have been starting to remove their meet of champions and things like that. Like, what would you say to the people in NJSIA making the decisions and possibly trying to remove meet of champions in lieu of just a bunch of group champions? Because up here in New York, where I am, they don't have a New York like state championship. They're all just, your section champ or whatever you are. There are a bunch of state champions. You being a person that's experienced the meet of champs, you have clout there. What would you say to the people trying to make these decisions about your experience and why they should or shouldn't take it away?
I mean, honestly, I feel like Meet of Champs, like it was something to work towards, like it was like, all right, I'm going to go to this meet and, do as best as I can. And if I don't do the best I can here, I have the next meet, I have the next meet. But like your ultimate goal is to, make it all the way up. And it was like something really important to me. I'm like, all right, I'm a freshman. Let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can make it to Meet of Chance as a freshman. Like it was different in, middle school because the kids were like 12, like everyone was like, just running all nilly-willy. But for me, like Meet of Champs was like something for me to look forward to. I was like, all right, I have to do this extra work to get here so I can get a t-shirt and say that I went here.
Yeah.
Groups and, the meets before that, you obviously need to qualify for those meets too. But at the end, like you're trying to make it to Meet of Champs. Like no one's like, oh, let me make it to groups and then I'm done. Like no one says that. No one's ever going to say that.
Right.
You want to make it all the way to the end. And why would you want to take that away? Like,
right. And track and cross country are sports where it's very easy. Like you just put the best against the best in each event. It's not like a team sport where, like football where you can only play so many games. It's just a great natural way to see who is the best in our state. It's
exactly.
I can't even fathom why this is even a discussion, and it just angers me even thinking about it because these kids work so hard.
Yeah. And anything to say about the camaraderie with the other athletes that are standing on those lines with you at those meets? Because you guys are, you're all kind of feeling the pressure. Is there, obviously you're all fierce competitors, but is there kind of a camaraderie that you build, especially if you see, a girl in there maybe 2-3 times, or like you're in these big meetings together and you're all working there and you all know each other's PRs and you're all kind of there. Is there something to be said? Like, is there something in the beginning? I know distance runners and sprinters are a little different in this aspect at times, but is there something to be said about the camaraderie that's built amongst Meet of Champs people that get there and you're all there together trying to win?
There definitely is. Like, one of my best friends, Phyllis, she went to Neptune. We met at nationals freshman year, and we were always competitors, always, because we go to rival schools, but we were also best friends. And meets where we had to run together, we'd be pushing each other at every step. If it was like, maybe I don't place where I want to go or she doesn't go, like we're supporting each other no matter what. And there's people that I've met, at, like, relays or like groups or something like that. And it's like, all right, like good luck. Maybe I'll see you at Meet of Champs. If not, I don't, but it definitely was like your competitors, obviously, but at the end of the day, like we're all rooting for each other, even though you want to win it still.
Definitely. Yeah. Me and Hyatt are big proponents of not taking away any of these tournament of champions, especially Meet of Champs in track and field. And I think we need more former participants like yourself coming out and kind of giving testimonials as to why this should hang around. So Hyatt, maybe that should be one of our goals. Let's start rounding up former Meet of Champion participants and it's getting some testimonials and getting them out to NJSIAA. So Zhane, you're going to be a voice. You're going to be a voice for everyone to go into there and march on in.
No one's going to be like, I did not expect that from her. And I'm going to be like, surprise, look at me.
I'm showing up to headquarters. So,
I will.
Go ahead, Dave.
I kind of want to, for those of you who don't know Zhane or her family, it's kind of hard not to mention the fact that your uncle, also a Manchester grad, is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, had the world record in the 4x4 with Michael Johnson, has a PR of 44.28. Was there any part of you that felt pressure because of your last name and being at the same school that your uncle went to, and your cousins and everybody? And I mean, if you don't know it, this family is one of the most athletic families that I've ever met in my entire life. It is insane. So, did you ever feel any of that pressure? Because
it was always pressure. Like even like I didn't start running like competitively until I was like maybe like 10 or 11. I started out doing gymnastics and like that was like my thing. Like no one else in my family had done gymnastics yet. And I was like, all right, like this is going to be my thing. Like I'm going to do gymnastics and hopefully I make it far. But then when I got into middle school, obviously like there's no gymnastics teams in middle school. And I still did cheer at that point. I pretty much just like gave up gymnastics, gave up cheer, and I just only focused on running. My dad would take me to track meets and I'd run undetached. And it was just like a different type of energy. You know, I was like, all right, like I can run, but I had never ran, you know, I didn't know what blocks were, you know, it was just like everything was new to me. But I knew like once I got to high school that it was going to be like everyone knew who I was and I didn't know who they were. You know, I would be walking the hallways and they're like, oh, you're Zhane. And I'm like, and who are you? Like, I'm sorry. Like, hi, you know, it was just like, it was a lot. And especially like once I started winning meets, like people were like, okay, like now we're going to be obsessed with you forever and we're going to like hound you forever. And they're like, remember your uncle, you know, Andrew, the Iceman Valmon. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Did you ever get
Trust
tired
me,
of hearing that? Or was there still a sense of pride?
Got, like, you know, like I was happy, but like I wanted people to be able to like decipher between the two of us. Like, you know, I have my own things that I'm good at. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want it to get like lost. Like, you know, like, okay, like you are Zhane, but you're also like Andrew Valmon's niece. Like, I'm my own person and, you know, like I want to make my own statement. And of course, you know, I love my uncle and I'm proud of everything, but it was definitely like sometimes hard for people to be like, okay, well, like you're your own person. And I'm like, yeah, I'm me. Like I would have interviews and they'd be like, well, how's your uncle? And I'm like, I don't know, like living his life.
Is it Maryland?
Yeah, like, oh, can he come to this meet? I'm like, sure. I mean, and I guess I can call him, but I thought this was about me, you know? So it did kind of suck sometimes because like the light was taken away from me, but I don't mind.
Every day walking out to the track and seeing that like big thing.
Yeah.
Andrew Valmon, gold medal 4x4 world record, you know?
Like awesome. Even my nephew, he's in middle school now. And, you know, we have the same last name. And even they're like, oh, like when's your nephew going to run? And I'm like, never. He is not athletically inclined at all.
That's fine.
That's fine. And I'll say this, you know, you certainly did a good job of, you know, standing out and being yourself. And you had a ton of success. One of our, you know, one of the best, if not, you were the best female sprinter to ever walk through the school, you know, for a pretty long time there. So it's not like, you know, you're up there with the Sonia Sullivans and all the other great female runners that we ever had. So you definitely made your own path. And I get it. People from the outside looking in, they're kind of annoying with that, but you're Zhane, and believe me, me and Hyatt know that you're Zhane. So we know you. So let's jump out of Zhane though, and let's talk a little bit about the pros. You know, the thing that all three of us, I think, aspired to be at one time, and like you said, it just kind of goes away. But you are still a track fan, which is fantastic because Hyatt and I are also still giant track fans. Obviously, the show.
We're track nerds.
We are track nerds, but. You said that you still keeping up with a lot of the sprinting going on. So this year we just had Jonathan Gault on, who's a writer at Let's Run, fantastic writer. And we kind of talked about, you know, the men's side just having such an amazing year in sprints. Give your impression about, let's start off with the men. Like, what did you see there and just the sheer dominance at Worlds and the way that they ran?
I think it was just great, you know, like Noah Lyles just like completely blew me away. You know, like I'm always rooting for, you know, the USA no matter what, but it was just like, holy cow, like these men they're running. Okay. Like they're running and I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that the US men get, you know, win the 100, sweep the 200, win the 400. And it was amazing. And I watched Michael Johnson run that American record back in 1996. Yes, I'm old, and I wasn't sure if it would ever be broken, but Lyles broke. And so, you know, the U.S. women sprinters obviously didn't have as much success because they're always going up against those studs from Jamaica. And it seems like the Jamaican women have definitely held on longer than the men. Like once Bolt kind of went, you know, the men have kind of faded. But, you know, you have like Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, who's been doing this for 600 years.
Yeah, like
she's
getting up there. She's not old, but like
it's amazing.
She's, you know, older than most, and she's just every meet she's just like, all right, well, you know, I'll break this record, I'm gonna run even faster than you now. And I'm just like, all right, like dang, like give someone else a chance.
Yeah, Yeah, she's been incredible. And like, like I had said, you have Sharika Jackson right on her heels. It's like the American women aren't getting a chance because it looks like Sharika Jackson's going to be the next to grab the baton away from Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, which, from the American standpoint, we're hoping that doesn't happen because we have Sha'Carri Richardson, who we talked about Sha'Carri a little last week. And man, what do you see from Sha'Carri? Because our perspective last week is if we could just get her head on screwed straight and only worried about track and field, block out social media, block out all the nonsense, and just focus on training, I really feel like she's the person to break in and steal some wins from Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. What is it?
That's what I've been saying too. I think she's just, a little too, that's like kind of the thing now with like social media being as big as it is. Like there was social media when I was in high school, but it's not nearly as big as it is now. Like there was no TikTok, people weren't going live on anything, it wasn't that big. But I think that plays a huge role, like a little too much social media and like just trying to be like outwardly defiant. It's like, we know that you're great. Like we can see it. But you're going to have to like dial it back a little bit because you're going to be against people who are going to beat you. Okay. And you're going to have to know that, it's going to be difficult. You can't just walk into every meet and think that because you won, a collegiate meet, you're going to go up against these Jamaicans and you're going to, be the fastest one on the track, but she's young and I think she's going to be great. She's going to be good.
Do you think she's treated unfairly by the media at times when she loses, kind of highlighting her losses or, not giving her as much props when she wins? Or is it a combination of her kind of putting that target on herself? Like, I think we were all in agreement that when she had a little bit of weed in her system, I think all of us were kind of like, yeah, you broke the rules, but man, that was pretty stupid. All around, like we should have just like a lot of people were like, rules are rules, but man, we need to fix this rule. Like that shouldn't have been an issue. And I think she had generally everybody behind her. And then I think she kind of created this me versus everyone type of thing and was openly doing it. So I wonder what your perspective is looking at it, especially as like a female sprinter as well. Do you think that she kind of put a target on her back? Is the media too hard? Are we getting a combination of things there?
I mean, I do think it was like a combination because, like I get it, it's weed, but I mean, I don't know too many people that smoke weed and can run fast afterwards. Like most people aren't even going to move afterwards. So, and it's not like she was like smoking right before the meets or anything like that. Like, I get it, but I also just like people were just, they were making it seem like, she was just out here just like, dismantling the track and making like, taking everyone's spice out their shoes. Like, like I get that, she broke the rules. You can't have any substances in your body, but, her reasoning is her reasoning. Some people are going to be like, that's not a good enough reason. And other people, they're like, I get it. But I think that sometimes people are just a little too hard on her. And then when she recently won, everyone's like, oh, well, the other runners have been running for this many meets and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, if anything, then you should be better than her. If you're running all these meets, like,
yeah.
I've barely been seeing her running and she comes out and she wins. And it's like, all right, it's not, like a groundbreaking world record, but she won. Like,
yeah, definitely.
One of our other favorite topics is to talk about the dominance of the girls and at the pro level from our wonderful state of New Jersey. I mean, we have Ajay Wilson, who's maybe 27, but now like everyone thinks, that's all down. Were you in school when Ajay was at Neptune?
Yeah, she graduated in 2012, so when I was a freshman.
Freshman, right? And then we have obviously, I think Mo in the 800.
Yes,
freshman, and obviously
19 years old. Well, now she's 20, but like just make it look so effortless. Like,
and then
if I ran 800, it would take 20 minutes.
And then there's the GOAT, Cindy McLaughlin, who is just like unworldly. So what is your opinion? And like, do you have a sense of more pride in them because you are from the state of New Jersey?
That's what it is. Like anytime they appear on the screen, I'm like, New Jersey. I'm not running, but I'm living through them. Like every time, you know? And it's like, I know Ajay personally, like I've met her, like it's not like, you know, it's like, I know her on a personal level, so it's a little bit different. You know, I obviously am always rooting for her. But then like I think Mo comes in and, you know, she's crushing it. And it's like, I'm rooting for both of them, but it's like, oh, I want to see my friend win, of course. But at the end of the day, like if you're from New Jersey, like I'm rooting for you no matter what. I don't care.
Shout out to Allie Wilson. We always have to give Allie a shout out, Mama's girl as well. Another Jersey girl coming in there. So, but yeah, you know, what the young ladies have been able to do. And I know Hyatt loves to say we can have a 4x8 and probably win worlds just from New Jersey with our pros right now. And I don't even think probably, I think it's kind of an undoubtedly that we would win worlds. It's pretty incredible to see. Anything else that you've seen, especially from this track season, that you've observed, maybe even at the collegiate level with like Abby Steiner or something going on that has
I think she's honestly amazing. Like, I hate the way she runs. Like, I hate the way her arms look when she runs, but I'm like, something about people whose arms just don't move properly. Like, I don't get it. Like, how are your arms moving like that and you're moving so fast? Like, fix your arms. But she's, especially when she was on the 4x4, like with Sydney and like Talitha Diggs, I could never, you know, hate her arms, hate the way she runs, but she's amazing.
And her range 1, 2, and 4. You know, it's amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, and I think like she's more like me, less 400, but like her 100 is like good, but she's definitely gonna like command the room when it comes down to 200s and stuff like that.
She certainly is. Hyatt, I hear a little bit of coach in Zhane there. Zhane, have you ever you hear that? Whenever I hear,
oh my God, someone asked me to do that. Someone asked me to like coach their like niece, and I'm like, you don't want that.
Talking about form, yeah.
Listen, the critique of the form is the first step.
It reminds me of like when I was in high school and I was running with Priscilla, and I'm like, Priscilla, fix your arms. Like, why are you running like that? She'd be moving so fast, and I'm like, how are your arms just like little midget arms? Like, move your arms. But she'd be moving so fast, so I'm like, all right, I guess it works for you. I don't know how you do it.
I'll do that too. I'll see like people running down the road, and I'll be like, drop your arms, you're doing too much work. What are you doing?
Are you running like that? Like,
yeah. My wife just looks at me. She's like, you're a loser. I'm like, shut up. I know. So let's jump into our last thing we want to talk about. The Berlin Marathon just happened. For anyone that is under a rock, Eliud Kipchoge, absolutely unbelievable world record, 2 hours, 1 minute, 0.09. He was on pace for sub 2 till about 20 miles in. The last 10K got him. Just, you know, you've always been a sprinter, but you're a fan of running, Zhane. Just seeing a human being able to run at that pace the whole time. What does that compute to you as a sprinter, just seeing someone running that fast?
For 26 miles, it would take me like 2 days. I would have been like, yeah, look, I'm gonna have to take a break. I need to eat lunch. I need to take a nap. Like, and then the race was over, and he was just like, oh, like hugging people, and I would have been on the ground. Like, I'd have been like crawling at the end. Like, you wouldn't have seen me on the screen. I'd have been like EMTs, like airlift me to the nearest hospital. Like, all my bones are broken. Like, I was watching it and I was like, I can't breathe for you. And his face was just like, oh, this is fine. Like, I'm just, you know, a neighborhood run. And I'm like, I could never. Like, that's honestly scary how he just like runs and it's like, okay, I'm done. You know, oh, it's world record, no problem. Like,
to me, it's amazing that you can run that many consecutive 5Ks in like 14:30, 14:18. It's insanity. It's how the human body, you know, and you hear all these people, oh, it's because they have all these new shoes. I don't care what kind of shoes you're wearing. Like, that is fast. That is to me, that's just an excuse. Like, he's just that good, and he's the best who's ever done it. It's incredible to watch.
You got to put in the training, regardless of what your shoes are. You have to put in the training and the hard work to get anywhere near there. And yeah, it's an unbelievable feat. He's incredible. He is the best to ever do it. Hyatt, do you think we get a sub 2 hour from him? What do you think?
Well, the marathon's so hard because it's all course dependent, weather dependent. Like he's not going to run that fast at New York or some of the other places. So certainly on a course that's flat, fast, maybe a little bit, more of a downhill gradient. Sure. I mean, he's definitely in shape to do it, but it's so hard in the marathon. That's why, to me, the world record in the marathon, I like to look at it more as like course records because every marathon's different. Yes, it's the same distance, but every course is unique in its own way. So do I think that he certainly can run 26.2 miles in under 2 hours? 1,000%, yes.
Yeah, I just feel bad when he's running every single one of his miles faster than my PR. That just makes me feel like a terrible person. But all right, Zhane, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate you jumping on.
I'm excited. I was like waiting for someone to ask me to be on it. I was like, maybe I can just like manifest it. And then Hyatt's like, oh, I have this podcast. And I was like, I know you do. I listen to it.
We really appreciate it. We appreciate all your support. You are always welcome to jump on. If something pops in your head and you want to talk about it, let us know. You are a welcome reoccurring guest.
I know. I'm such a pain in the butt, but you can't get rid of me. So
you're one of our favorite pains in the butt.
Yes. It's like you would be like defiant in like the sweetest way. It was like so hard to explain. I was like, I know. Okay. It's like,
yeah.
It was the nicest denial ever. It's like, are you going to do this one? I don't think so.
No.
I'm just not here right now. I don't think so.
And like Hyatt would be like, where are you? And I'll be like in line at Chick-fil-A. I'm in the bathroom. I'm so sorry. I'm sick. What's that noise? Oh, it's not chicken. Like, it's not me eating. Like, no.
Yeah. No, but anyway, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you. Best of luck on your new marriage and your new move. And, we just wish you nothing but the best.
We certainly do. Again, she's Zhane Valmon, one of the Manchester Township High School greats all time in sprinting and track and field, a proud tradition that she just only enriched. Anything that you would like to shout out, Zhane, before we jump off of here?
I don't think so. I don't have any shout outs. Not this time. I'll have to think of something good.
Maybe next time. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. As always, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate this 5 stars. Follow us on Spotify and iTunes. Spread this word of mouth and go find us on Talking in Ovals at Talking in Ovals on Twitter. Everyone, thank you so much. We will be back next week. So long, y'all.